G'day guys, how's it going? I'm Aaron Whitnell, this is ACW Sport, and here is my Week 23 review of the 2017-2018 Premier League season. And of course, there is only one place to start, and that is at Anfield, where Liverpool beat Manchester City 4-3 in what is for me the game of the season. Manchester City have finally lost in the Premier League, their first defeat in the league this season, and their 30-game unbeaten run has come to an end. Liverpool, as we know, are phenomenal at home, and they showed exactly why Anfield has been such a hard place to go in this game. Rampant on the attack. Don't get me wrong, City did very, very well late on, but for me, they were just very, very sloppy in this game. It's not the City that we're used to seeing. Liverpool fully deserved the 3 points despite City's late comeback, and it was just certain performances just weren't quite there of what we're used to seeing. Prime example, Stones and Otamendi, normally so assured at the back and so good when it comes to passing out, especially when you consider Otamendi's actually completed more passes in the Premier League this season than any other defender. Both him and Stones made mistakes which led to Liverpool goals, but you can't take anything away from Liverpool. They were unbelievable. Forget Coutinho, because Oxlade-Chamberlain really stepped up to the mark for Liverpool in this game. For me, he was man of the match, their best player on the pitch, and you can see that in his stats alone. The fact that he had 67 touches, more than any other Liverpool player. He completed 31 of his 39 passes. He crossed the ball 8 times, which is more than any other Liverpool player. He created 3 chances, one of which he got an assist for, and he scored. When you consider he only had 2 shots on target or 2 shots on goal, that's pretty awesome. So yeah, wonderful, wonderful performance from Oxlade-Chamberlain and from Liverpool as a whole. All 4 of the goals were amazing. Oxlade-Chamberlain's strike early on. Then, of course, you had Firmino out-muscling John Stones, who needs to do better in that situation, before flicking it beautifully over Ederson to put Liverpool back in the lead after Sane had brought City level. And for me, City were quite lucky to go in level because they hadn't really done anything. But it was a mistake from Karius in goal. Klopp's got to look at that, as we all know, and we've been saying for a long, long time. I think he will after this game. But then Mane with a stunning strike, and of course Salah lobbing Ederson after he poorly cleared the ball. And Liverpool were in dreamland. 3 goals in 8 second-half minutes to make it 4-1 at one point. Then City really came back into it. Ended up being 4-3. Gundogan getting a late goal right in stoppage time to really make it a tense final few minutes. As well as Sane, Bernardo Silva had also come on and scored as well, because Sterling, he didn't really enjoy his return to Anfield, that's for sure. Safe to say that Richardson got the better of him in that game, for me anyway, the left-back for Liverpool, who, again, I thought was absolutely phenomenal. But, Man City, look, they are definitely going to win the league. I think we know that. The gap has been shut to 12 points, but you've got to give credit to Liverpool here because it was just such a fantastic performance. It's true what they say, Liverpool have got such an exciting future ahead of them in terms of the players they're buying. All right, yeah, they sold Coutinho, but you can see with the players they're trying to recruit, this could be really exciting for them. And next season, I really expect the gap to be a lot tighter between them and Manchester City. But City, they really hate going to Anfield. They've only won 1 of their last 37 visits to Anfield. Klopp, he's actually beaten Pep 6 times now, which is more than any other manager has defeated Pep in Pep's managerial career. It was just a phenomenal game of football and everything the Premier League is about. So for me, that was without a shadow of a doubt the game, not just of the weekend, but of the season. The other main talking point from this weekend was that Arsenal, without Sanchez, who looks like he's about to sign for Manchester United, lost to Bournemouth, having been 1-0 up. Bournemouth's first ever win over Arsenal. Now, look, going into this game, Arsenal actually played their youngest team that they've put out in the Premier League for 5 years. They were without Sanchez. That should have been the sign that they were going to lose because they haven't won, or they've lost all 3 now of the games that Sanchez hasn't played in: Stoke, at Watford, and at Bournemouth. But, Arsenal, they did still take the lead through Bellerin, his second goal in 2 games, but there were just 283 seconds between Arsenal going 1-0, between Bournemouth's first goal and their second goal, really turning the game on its head. Arsenal going from 1-0 up to 2-1 down. Callum Wilson, who scores every time he plays Arsenal, getting on the score sheet. And then Jordan Ibe, who seems to be on a bit of a recovery for his career at Bournemouth at the moment. He scored his first goal for Bournemouth, even though he's played 52 games. Not the kind of stats you want as a winger, but Eddie Howe seems to be getting the best out of him now. And they did. They beat Arsenal, who have now thrown away 9 points from winning positions this season, more than any other team in the Premier League. They cannot manage games. They need to sort that out properly. despite Wilshere playing so well. But Arsenal are in really bad stick of form here. They've now only won one of their last 7 away games, even though they've only suffered 2 defeats in the last 12. It's just not good enough. As for Bournemouth, this was a massive win for them. Took them clear of the relegation zone, and they're now unbeaten in 5 matches. But yeah, Wenger's really got to have a look at his squad and a look at the club as a whole at the moment and really figure out what he's going to do and where he's going to take the club forward from this point on. As for Spurs, things get better for them. They hammered Everton at Wembley to go clear of Arsenal and close the gap on Chelsea to only 3 points, and Liverpool as well. So, Tottenham well back in the Champions League running once again. 2 more goals for Harry Kane. He's now on 20 Premier League goals for the season, and he set yet another record as he became Spurs' all-time leading Premier League goal scorer, beating Teddy Sheringham's previous record of 97 goals. Kane now with 98. And Kane, he just loves playing Everton. He's now scored twice in each of his last 3 games against Everton. They're his favourite team to play against in the last few years, it seems. But it wasn't just all about Kane. Son once again had a phenomenal game. He's now scored in 5 Premier League home games in a row, the first Tottenham player to do that for 13 years. But you've got to say, as good as Tottenham were in the second half, Everton was shambolic. Sam Allardyce called it out as well. But, they now haven't won in 5 games and they've only scored once. All right, those games have been against Spurs, Chelsea, United and Liverpool. 4 of them anyway. But when you consider the money that Everton spent in the summer and the amount that, or the targets they said they had, for this season, you would expect them to do far better against the bigger sides. But, this heavy defeat was Sam Allardyce's 19th defeat, where 4 or more goals have been scored against his team. That's more than any other Premier League manager in history. So, not a record he wants. But, I think there were some strong words for that team after the game. And Everton going to have to go back to the drawing board because it's safe to say that Sam Allardyce bubble has certainly popped in the last few weeks. They now find themselves back in a bit of a relegation zone with Palace and West Ham closing them. But back up to the title race now. Well, I'll say title race. The race for second spot. Monday night, Manchester United comfortably beat Stoke 3-0, who, of course, still in the relegation zone. 2 wonderful goals from Valencia and Martial, and also a very good goal from Romelu Lukaku, really showing his power. Look, Stoke and their new boss, Paul Lambert, can be encouraged by the fact that they did create some chances and did have a go, but really United didn't need to get out of third gear. They were very comfortable on the night, and it was just Paul Pogba running the show. He's now got 9 assists in 13 Premier League games this season. That's the best assists to games ratio of any player in any of Europe's top 5 leagues. Just to give you an idea of how good that is, Kevin De Bruyne has 9 assists in 23 games. So, Pogba, certainly United's creative man there. But, comfortable win for United. Not really too much more to say about it. As for Chelsea, they really seem to be deflated at the moment. They drew 0-0 at home to Leicester. But going into this match, Chelsea had won all of their last 7 home games. And Leicester hadn't actually won at Stamford Bridge since the year 2000. So I did think that even though Leicester were going to give Chelsea a good game, Chelsea would edge this in the end. Wasn't to be. Leicester absolutely battered them and was so unlucky to not come away with a win here. They had 12 shots on Chelsea's goal in the first half alone, which is the most that any team has had against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge for 15 years. But they just look deflated. I mean, Morata, we know he's not in form. He's only scored 5 times in his last 22 games. Bakayoko just doesn't seem to be fitting into the squad. I'm not quite sure how he's still in the squad when you've got the likes of Pedro and Willian coming on and playing so well. And also, when you look at how Bakayoko's playing compared to Matic, again, you just have to wonder why Chelsea let Matic go in the summer, because Matic has been so good for United this year. But between Conte's moaning about fixtures, his feud with Mourinho, the fact there's constant rumours that he's either going to be sacked or he's going to leave in the summer, there just seems to be a bit of deflation around Chelsea. And you do have to wonder if they could be the team that miss out on Champions League football at the moment because they're slowly dropping. But, Liverpool now above them. Tottenham are only 3 points behind them. It's going to be a big couple of weeks for Chelsea, especially going into their Champions League games with Barcelona in just a few weeks' time. Now focusing a little bit down towards the middle of the table, Crystal Palace, they actually beat Burnley 1-0 at Selhurst Park. Palace making Selhurst Park a bit of a fortress. Very tight game, which is kind of what you'd expect when you play Burnley because they are a very well-organised team. A draw may have been fair, but for me, Palace did create a bit more than what Burnley did. Tight game, wonderful goal from Sacco to win it. He's now become Palace's top goal scorer this season with 6 goals. He's got 4 goals in his last 7 games. He's in really good form. He's now only 1 defeat in the last 12 games for Palace. And when you consider the start they had, you would not expect that whatsoever. They now find themselves 12th, only 5 well, they're 5 points above the drop zone, but they're only a point behind Everton in 9th, which is incredible. As for Leicester, their draw at Chelsea put them at 3 points behind Burnley because of Burnley's defeat here. There's no win in 6 games now for Burnley, and they've got Manchester United next. So you do have to wonder if this is just a blip or whether or not, they may have reached the highest moments of the season. But either way, Sean Dyche still doing a very good job. Burnley still sitting, in a very good position in the Premier League table. And I think after the United game, they'll be able to really kind of crack on again this season. But massive win for Crystal Palace. West Ham joint on points with Palace. They also picked up a massive win. They now find themselves 11th after a 4-1 win at Huddersfield. This was a real landmark win for David Moyes because he becomes only the 4th manager in Premier League history to pick up 200 Premier League wins. Only Sir Alex Ferguson, Arsene Wenger and Harry Redknapp have actually got that many wins in the Premier League before. But this game was, especially in the second half, was just all about Arnautovic and Lanzini. They were awesome in this game, ran the show. Arnautovic really back on form, 5 goals in 5 games for him now. Lanzini actually picked up his first away goal since October 2016 for West Ham, which is quite incredible when you consider how important a player he is for them. But West Ham, they just seem to figure Huddersfield out in this game, which is why they were able to make them make mistakes, especially if you look at the opening goal as a prime example. But great win for West Ham. Again, 5 points clear of the relegation zone, and I think they're going to be fine now, just like I think Palace are going to be fine. A team that I don't think are going to be fine, but picked up a massive win this weekend were West Brom. They beat Brighton 2-0 at the Hawthorns. This was actually West Brom's first win in 20 Premier League games. Johnny Evans and Craig Dawson scoring the goals, both from set pieces. Kind of funny that, Alan Pardew has kind of resorted to Tony Pulis tactics to pick up his first win as West Brom manager in the Premier League. But either way, West Brom will be happy with it. Johnny Evans getting his 5th goal for West Brom. But Brighton, a little bit of a worrying sign for them. They've now conceded 16 goals from set pieces this season. That's more than any other team. So maybe while the January transfer window is still open, maybe Chrissy Hughton needs to go out there and see if he can find a good, big, powerful defender to, obviously defend those set pieces and try and stop those goals leaking in from the set pieces. But big win for them. Bit of a disappointing result for Brighton though. Even more disappointment for Southampton, who now haven't won in 10 games, but they were 2-0 up and threw it away at Watford. Now, Ward-Prowse, 2 wonderful finishes from him. He's in really, really good form, which is what Southampton need. Players in form to help them get out of this. They were fantastic in the first half. Watford were better in the second half, but Southampton did deserve to win. They did create a bit more. And, of course, if you've watched the replays, you know that Doucouré's goal should never have stood. How the officials didn't pick it up is beyond me. Massive argument for video technology because he did handle the ball over the line. Of course, Watford had already got back into the game through Andre Gay's first goal at Vicarage Road for Watford. But, real sucker punch for Southampton. And, sadly, it would have been a massive, massive result for them. But that goal that Doucouré scored also gives Southampton a rather unwanted stat. They are now the 7th team in Premier League history to concede 1,000 goals in the Prem. So not a stat they would have wanted, but sadly that's the way it went. And then the final game of the weekend saw Newcastle draw 1-1 at home to Swansea in what was quite a surprise result. Another decent result for Swansea. Carvajal seems to be getting them picking up points where they can. But Newcastle, a bit of a worrying sign that they haven't actually won at St James's Park in the Premier League since October now. And Swansea were robbed in this game. They should have had a penalty when Diame handled from Van der Hoorn's flick from the corner that was going in. And then, of course, Yedlin had blocked Bonnie's shot fantastically in the last minute off the line to save a point for Newcastle. Because otherwise Swansea would have run out 3-1 winners, and that would have been a rather embarrassing defeat for Benitez. But that pretty much sums up everything that happened in the Premier League this weekend. It was a wonderful weekend of football. Please comment below, let me know what were your main talking points. What do you think the ramifications of City's first defeat may have on the season going forward? Do you think they'll just carry on steamrolling? Or do you think we could see them drop a few more points just to make that gap a little bit tighter? So please comment below, let me know. As always, I'm Aaron Whitnell. You've been watching ACW Sport. Please don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys again soon.